Huh? No. We've got a one-move break, I guess.
I don't really. No, I don't. If you castle and I like push here, you just swing out and take it. And if I take down there, then you get a time to. So anyway, that was my thought. That was quick. That one felt nice, you know.
Hey guys, this is Tom. Well, another nice game between Marty and Sam, and in this game, we see that one little rushed move or inaccuracy can lead to a very quick tactical sequence that can result in a victory. And I want to start looking at this game from about move 8 when Marty plays the move b5, and here we have Sam playing bishop f4, hitting the queen, and so Marty makes a nice move, scooting the queen to b6, and now we see that there's a battery on the f2 pawn, and White unfortunately isn't in time to just castle because this light squared bishop is in the way. So he has to find a way to defend this pawn another way. Now, my question to you is, how would you defend this pawn? What do you think is the best way to defend this pawn? Well, let's first see what Sam did. So first, Sam played the move knight d1, and this defends the pawn this way. Now, this is not the best move, and one of the reasons is that when the knight was on c3, it was controlling a lot of central squares, right? It was controlling the e4, d5, b5, and as well as the a4. And so it had a lot of influence over the center, and by going back, that was relinquished. And it allowed Black to play the next, which Marty did not miss, and he immediately struck in the center with the move d5. Now, this is a great move because now, if the knight was still on c3, this would have been much harder to accomplish. But now that the knight went back, Marty wants to open up that position, right? Because white king is still in the middle, and he wants to get his pieces towards the white king as soon as possible. So he doesn't wait, he plays actively and doesn't waste any time here. Now let's go back and look at some of the other possibilities instead of knight d1. So here, the other possibilities are to defend with a queen, maybe queen e2, queen d2, and maybe bishop e3. So let's look at bishop e3 first. So bishop e3, Black can just exchange, and if we take with a queen, then black will take, and now we have these two isolated pawns in the center of the board. And this is, you know, slightly better for black. So this is not really the position that white wants to go for. So then we have two more options to consider, which is queen to e2 or queen to d2. And it's not really clear why, which one's better. But I think the reason queen e2, the computer shows queen e2 is better, or slightly better, is because of the following. If you play queen d2 here, then black can play knight g4, putting pressure on this f pawn even more. So we have to go knight d1 now. And now the point is that e5 is possibility. And the problem with the queen being on d2 is that the bishop is essentially, you know, it doesn't have too many places to go. Because if you go here, it can be kicked out with f6, and eventually it's going to end up here. And as you guys see, there's 3 pieces aiming. So we're going to get this, you know, this, if we go for this, knight takes, and then let's say knight takes, takes, and we get basically the same position with as we just looked at, with the bishop protecting. So again, not ideal, right? And so so that's why queen e2 is better, because now if knight g4, then we play knight d1, and now if they play e5, then we can bring the bishop here. So just this little subtle difference. So queen e2 is actually the best way to defend this position. But let's go back to what happened in the game. So after takes, black takes, and again, white's got to make a decision, because now the knight's threatening to take the bishop, and if we just leave it there, I'll get doubled pawns. So Sam plays bishop to d3, and here we have a nice developing move. Sam does the same, and here Marty castles. And here's the critical part of the game, really, where Sam rushed his move, and he castled his king. And this was a mistake. What he really had to realize is after black castled, you see that there is this rook lined up with the queen. And so you have to immediately do something about this, and because you don't want to give black the freedom to basically move the knight anywhere almost with a discovery on the queen, and that could cause a lot of problems, and in fact it did, as we'll see in the game. So here, what do you think the best move was for white? And he had only one move here. So take a second and see what should white do here. Well, the best move here is to play queen to e2, because here the queen is safe, and you guys see that the black knight does not have any good jumps. There is no discovery on the queen, and so white queen is safe, and there are no immediate threats. This is defended. White's going to castle next. The king will be safe, and then he can, you know, unravel the rest of his pieces. So that would have been the best thing to do. However, Sam decided to castle, and maybe he was thinking, well, my king is safe. There aren't any checks with the knight, and then I can just move the queen out of the way, right? But unfortunately, it doesn't work, because after knight goes to f4, and now you have the rook hitting the queen and also the knight. But unfortunately for black here, there aren't any good squares for the queen, it turns out, because these squares are automatically bad. And so the only squares you have to potentially calculate now, see if you can go to e4. Now, c3 is what was played in the game, or b3, right? You really have a limited number of choices here. And so let's look at one by one. So first, starting with queen e4, here the problem is black can just take the bishop, and here white needs to kick that bishop out probably first. Remember, this knight doesn't really have anywhere to go, so we don't have to take it immediately, but we want to get rid of that pesky bishop and this pressure on this f2 pawn. And so after this, though, there's this nice knight d4 move, which is similar to what happened in the game. But now black unleashes another discovery on the queen. And unfortunately, the knight is also in the way. So the white queen has to move again, or you leave it there, which is the best move, and then you take the bishop, right? But now we get this exchange. Queen takes, and unfortunately though, none of this, the tactics don't work for white here. Now he has to take, and then we get a jump with the discovered check on the king. So if you try to block that, then here we have knight takes, and here it doesn't matter how you recapture. For example, if you take the bishop, then there's rook takes, and then you get this nice fork at the end, and basically black's going to be up 2 pieces and win very easily. If you take the other way and you take the knight, then the bishop just takes the pawn, and here black's up a rook and also winning easily. So as you see, this doesn't quite work. The bishop, the queen to e4 doesn't work. So we can also mark that as red. And so now we have only 2 squares. So let's look at queen b3. And on the queen b3 here, black would take the bishop. And here, the best move for white is just to move the bishop over, because we want to, we don't want this knight to come in here and cause havoc. Remember, because of this pin, and the knight being here would just, be game over. So unfortunately, black can go there anyway. And after we take, he can take with the rook. Now, if we take this rook with the knight, then black just recaptures, and this knight is protected now. This black knight on g2 is protected, and it turns out the evaluation is like minus almost 6, or in favor of 6 for black. So this is not, this is just winning for black also. Now, if you don't take the rook and you take the knight, then black is just going to double on the file. So now there's pressure on the d file. This bishop is pinning this knight, right? There's also this battery still on. This is a very dominant position for black, and also minus 5.4 for black. So again, pretty much winning for black. So this queen to b3 move isn't working either. Now Sam goes for the move queen c3, and this move actually loses right away, because Marty could have just played knight e2 and then fork the queen and the king, and then just win the queen right away. Now he didn't do that. He just went for the bishop, and then after king takes, he unleashes the knight d4 move with this brutal pin and double attack. And here Sam resigns, because there's no way to defend this knight with another piece, and the white knight's lost, and black's advantage here is just overwhelming. So a nice game by Marty, showing us how to take advantage of a mistake and finishing the game in style. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you thought of the game in the comments below. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.